always do this.
I know it takes a second. All right, we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Whiskey Thursday. I think you're really going to like this one. Also, if you're watching live, hashtag live in the comments down below. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay in the comments down below. Shane, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. I'm trying to find this. I don't even know where. Okay. Anyways, I want to see the comments as they pop in, but yeah, we're super excited. This is actually going to be a fun night because we got an awesome guest tonight here on Whiskey Thursday. If you're catching us on YouTube, make sure to come join us live inside the Real Estate Marketing Conversion Mastery Facebook group. We do this every single Thursday. Matt and I come here, we host a show, and we have amazing guests that come on. And tonight, this is actually really, I think it's really special because Travis Plumb here, who's the CEO and co-founder of PTM Marketing. I think you guys are one of these marketing agency companies that nobody knows about. you're like the ninjas, right?
Well, a lot of people must know about them because they're pretty big.
Yeah, and it's really cool. You guys have worked with thousands of customers. You work with hundreds and hundreds of real estate agents. You've built, I think we were talking earlier, you've built over 4,000 websites. You've built websites for some of the biggest names in the industry, including, coaches and other, well-known internet marketers out there, which is really cool. We're not going to name any names out, but I think that's really cool. And one of the things, your specialty, your background is sales. Which is really cool. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight is sales and working with these clients and selling these clients. And I'm really interested to learn a little bit more about, your journey. And you obviously guys have grown into this very large agency now. Plus you've got all kinds of other businesses going on. You guys are doing some really cool stuff. You got new technology coming out. You've got really interesting ways of acquiring customers. So I'm really excited about that. And I hope people that are watching are going to tune in here. And I think you're going to get a ton of value out of the show. So Travis, man, welcome to Whiskey Thursday. Really pumped to have you. Thanks.
Thanks, bro. I mean, you hyped me up so well. I mean, I don't even know if I can hold up to those standards anymore. I'm like, shit. All right. But I'm really glad to be here, man. And I appreciate you having me on the show. And I look forward to dropping some bombs on here, man, and trying to teach the viewers, the people that are on here, tell them my experience and, kind of what I've been through over the last 10 years in sales and marketing and right out of the military and all that good stuff, man. And, we'll just kind of take it minute by minute here, but I'm looking forward to doing something here, man.
Yeah, and I think, when we spoke earlier, we kind of, we're talking a little bit about like, okay, what can we talk about on Whiskey Thursday? What topic do we want to talk about? Because I mean, you guys are doing it all, right? I mean, you're doing white labeling. You're working with huge companies. You're working with some of the biggest coaches in the industry. You're building funnels and platforms and acquisition models and like all kinds of stuff. Like your team is probably one of the best at what you do, and you've done a lot of it as well over the years, right? You've grown into, you've got really good partners, you've got a really good team that you're working with, but one of your superpowers, you specifically, is the sales side of it, right? Yes. Yeah. And you're really good at sales. I mean, you've been helping us out with some of our projects, I think the sales side of things is something that a lot of either newer agencies are struggling with, right? Acquisition, sales, and so on. And then also agencies, as they start evolving and growing and so on, they start, either capping or they're struggling to sort of go to the next level. And we were talking about this earlier, where it's like, okay, you can go from 0 to 10,000, right? A month, yep. Retainers or whatever, or sales. Then you can go from, then your sort of next step is from 10 to 100,000, then 100,000 to 1 million, and then 1 million to 5 to 10, and so on, right? But there's a process to that, and not every level requires something different, right? And yeah. Whatever you're doing when you're selling up to 10,000 is going to be different than if you're doing 100 to 1 million, for instance.
Yeah. And, yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the biggest things that I've ever learned was, that you can't do it all by yourself. I've been in sales for a really long time, and right out of the military, I got into the car business, and I sold a ton of cars, man. I did really well there. I got into the finance business, and I made a lot of money there. And, I got out because I was really miserable. You know what I'm saying? I was working, 6 days, 7 days a week, and I was working bell to bell from 8 a.m. to, when you're in finance, you're working till midnight, and then you got to go in on Sundays and you got to cap deals. And I was just seeing like all this money flowing in and how much money I was like making everybody else. And I'm like, man, shit, I need to figure out how to kind of go ahead and do this on my own. And, the thing that I am really good at is networking. That's one of my superpowers, obviously, networking. I think networking and sales are really one and the same thing. If I could suggest anything to like a new agency, if you're not out there, like if you're hiding behind your computer, I'm not saying that you can't do that. Okay. Everyone has their own superpower in the way that they do business. But when you actually go out and you meet people, when I first started, I literally would go to a networking event every single night. You know what I mean? That wasn't really that good because I was like, drinking and having too much fun. But, I don't necessarily doing all that. But I would go to a networking event every single night. I would go to when I got like a chiropractor for a client, like my first one, one of my first chiropractors, I really took the time to build that relationship and to build that bond. And then that guy sent me referrals. Like there's a few things. I'm really good at networking, and I'm really good at getting referrals, and I'm really good at making deals. I'm a connector. You know what I mean? Like I'm very good at doing that. And I'll kind of share with you some of that process and how I do that. But I would go in and at first I would work with one niche. I worked with real estate for many, many years, real estate and the mortgage side of things. And then I started having so many other niches reaching out to me to have them help them with their marketing that I kind of would just pick one at a time. I would do chiros and dentists, but I would go network with a couple of chiros. I would do a really great job, and I would get a bunch of testimonials and a bunch of referrals. But then I would like basically get them to invite me to other events that are just for chiros, and they would bring me in there as their consultant. They would bring me in there as their advisor. So now I'm in a whole room full of other doctors that I just got personally introduced to. And that was one of the things that really, really worked well for me was the networking. And obviously, I mean, I could go on for days on all the other stuff, and we'll kind of get into it. But the number one thing is that you can't do it by yourself, and you want to use your superpower. You know what I'm saying? So I have other partners. I mean, we have, 26, 27 employees or so total. Mm-hmm. And I don't do everything. I used to try to do everything. I used to build the websites. I used to build the funnels. I used to do the sales. I used to do the fulfillment. I used to do everything. And it was just too much. I was miserable. I was again working, 20 hours a day. And I said, I really can't do this. So, if I can suggest anything, if you're doing this by yourself and you really want to scale, you need to find a strategic partner. Like my business partner, his name is Travis as well, oddly enough. We call him Oz. He's the guy who builds all the websites now. He does all the fulfillment. And so I'm able to go out and really, truly do what I love, go to meetings and speak on stage. And I just get to go out and do sales. That's really where I focus my time and energy on, and building out these great relationships with people and helping them and making sure that they get results. Mm-hmm. And on the back end, I communicate with Travis and he does all that. So that's one of the things that I really pride myself on is just, trying to kind of let go a little bit of, I just speak from experience. I was really just trying to do everything by myself. And when I was able to partner with Travis and I was able to kind of let some of that pressure off of my shoulders, within like months, we went to our first 6-figure month. You know what I mean? I had a guy stroke me a $100,000 check to develop a software, and I would never have been able to do that. I still have a picture of it too. It was great, but it was like, to be able to do that was like, I know I can get the job done. I worked with the guy for many years, and he believed in me because I had built a strong relationship over those years for him to do that. So, that's just one of the ways that I go out and get business. When I couldn't get over $40,000, $50,000 a month, I still do networking events, but I was doing a lot of networking events. So that's just one tip that I could kind of share, that I think that if you're not out there going to networking events and partnering with people, like if you're working with chiros and doctors, pay them to refer you people. The referrals are king.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, and, one of the things, and we actually, sorry, we talk about this inside of the academy and stuff. Did I cut you off? Sorry.
Hang on, I was just saying for everybody who's catching up, we got a few people that have shown up. We've got a couple comments in. If you guys are watching live, #live down in the comments below. If you're watching the replay, #replay. Let us know where you are watching from. Let's see where everybody's from tonight. Where you're watching from. See who's.
Yeah,
watching.
Travis, where are you from? You got the shirt, I think, right?
Who me?
Yeah, where are you from?
I'm from Dallas, Texas, man. I'm born and raised out here.
All right.
There you go.
Where are y'all seeing all the comments? Is it in the group?
Yeah, it's inside.
Yeah,
of the group.
sorry, you have to join the group and see the group.
Bro, I should have done that beforehand. I love the
Yeah,
interactive
you should
comments.
have,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just rambling.
We'll read them out if there's any questions that pop up and
Cool,
stuff.
thanks.
Yeah. So what I was going to say was, and we talk about this a little bit inside of our program is, well, actually we talk about it a lot inside of our program. We have multiple modules on networking, right? And in the real estate world, that makes a lot of sense. And there's so much noise out there and so many marketers, so many agencies out there, marketers that are pitching real estate agents left, right, and center. And these network events allow you to really separate yourself from everybody else, right? And one of the things that I used to do early on, and even to this day, I still kind of do it a little bit. You talk a little bit about referrals, but one of the things I used to do is any of the clients I was working with, I'd be asking them like, hey, what event are you going to next month? Like, what are you doing next month, right? Like, just having conversations with them. Yep. And if they ever say, well, we're going to this event or we've got this thing going on, it's like, hey, any chance I can come with you and just, I just want to come and learn a little bit more about the business. I think that would really help me out in delivering better results for you. Right. And then instantly I get an invitation, man. I've been to numerous broker events where it's like the entire event is just brokers. Right. I've been invited to like $30,000 coaching programs for free. To show up, and they're more than willing to, the biggest problem, and it's the same thing with referrals, is most of us never ask, right? We don't listen to our clients. We don't have conversations with our clients, and we don't ask. And we don't tell them what the benefit of that would be, right? Like, let me come and be part, like, I want to be a partner. I want to understand your business, right? And same thing with the referrals. If you don't ask for referrals, nobody's going to give you one, right?
Well, what I really love about that, man, is you're talking about asking. And if you were to ask me, what my superpower is within a sales conversation, I believe that the person who speaks the less typically wins. There's different phases in a sales call. For me, there's obviously fact finding, asking questions, but it's all, you got to control, you got to give the person on the other end of the line, saying, give them the power that they think that they have the power, but really you're very controlled and you're very detailed in the way that you're going to take that conversation. Because, when they're like, yeah, Travis, I'm in, then I'll get into like explaining a lot more of like the finer detail, or I'll take the credit card, we'll sign them up, and then I'll offer them a free strategy session for 30 minutes every single week for the first month, where I'll do a little bit more of the talking. But I ask a lot of questions. And I think that that's really key that you said that, is if you're just talking and rambling on and just trying to sell, you're done, man. Because you're going to run across someone like me or someone like Shane who's willing to be patient. I will let a deal walk away. I really will. I am in no rush to close a deal, because you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So I believe that if there's a deal, there's going to be a deal. And I just kind of sit back, ask the questions, shut up, really, really, really listen. Because, the consumers, they can feel that you're thinking about what you're going to say next. I'm not really thinking about what I'm going to say next. I know my product front to back. I know where I'm taking the conversation. I just want them to talk, that people want to talk about themselves, So I let them talk, ask a bunch of questions. And, I think that's a big key to some of the success with the closing, and not just on like a small monthly retainer, like if you're an agency, and I'm not saying don't go out and get retainers, because we get retainers, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, I just erased everything because I didn't want y'all to see the numbers. I had the whole thing covered in green from the monthly. We got retainers for $15,000, $7,500, $2,000, $1,000. Like, we got a bunch of retainers, but when you get really good, you can go into businesses, and we'll probably talk about this later on, and you get equity in their company. That's a big thing. So,
ooh, let's talk about that.
Well, before we go there,
hang on, that's a more interesting part of it. That's
right?
Real money making shit.
It is. Before we go there, tell us a little bit about your company currently. What is your role there? Are you a salesperson? Do you run the sales team? How big is the company? I think you said something like 27 employees. What's that look like?
So my main focus is going out there and making sales, and I mean, my title is CEO, but I do it more. I run the company, but I also, manage relationships with the clients, because it just depends. We have a couple of different project managers that can manage, like a chiropractor who's paying us, $2,000 a month for lead generation. That doesn't take, I'm not really trying to spend time with that. There are people who pay us a lot more money when we're doing, do the 20. They say they sell pills for men that help them get their thing hard. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
they're older couple. They're freaking geniuses. They're great. The husband actually sold Rhapsody for like $40 or $50 million or something like that. The guy's a genius. Him and his wife, they're just amazing couple. She does like sex therapy and stuff. They're great, but like that takes a lot more time. Those are conversations that sometimes most people won't be able to have those conversations when they're talking about coding and doing all this other stuff. So I will have those conversations if I have to, if it gets way above my head, which with some of these companies, it really does. I will have Travis, or Travis's right-hand guy, his name is JC. He'll come in and they'll kind of manage that expectation. But my main focus is sales, managing the client's expectations. And that's what I do, man. And I'm a connector. There's a deal. We're working a huge commercial real estate deal right now, selling Cocoa Palms, which is famous for Elvis Presley's movie back in the 60s that got destroyed by a hurricane. And that's a brokered deal. Someone told me about the deal. I went to my buyer who manages a hedge fund. I said, we worked a negotiating deal. We're getting a $1.5 million commission on that. And, right now I'm not really having to do too much because it's in their hands. So like bringing that to the table, bringing the big deals to the table and closing them, and letting I let people do what they do best. So I don't want people necessarily talking to Travis that much. He's very, very busy. I mean, the dude is an absolute beast. I don't even know how he does it with everything that's going on. He somehow manages to do it. But my focus is just growing the business, bringing in the revenue.
Okay. Nice.
Main focus.
Nice. And what is the main business? I mean, you guys are an agency or a website company, a funnel company?
Well, we do all of it. So, for instance, we just spent the last 7 or 8 months building CBDoil.com, and we're an equity partner in that because he had tried multiple agencies before. No one could do the work. No one could develop this website. This is a very complex website with 40,000 different CBD vendors. It's live. We just launched the beta version basically Sunday. He spent $500,000 on just a domain. And we ended up working a deal where we got 25.
Who is this guy?
Yeah. Go to CBDoil.com. Go, if you type it in and go to Vegas, they wrote it in the paper. Like you can look up the research on all that. I don't want to. He's a pretty private guy, but if you type it in there, they had a whole article. It was like because he bought the domain for $500,000. You could type in CBDoil.com, paid $500,000 in Vegas, right? Whatever. And so we're 25% partner in that, and like that's because of our skill sets. We can web develop, we can do software, we can do websites, we can do marketing, we can do every single platform that there is. And when you have that type of leverage, people need your skills and your services, and you may not be at that level of where you can do software development or coding on that, but you sure as hell can go find a plumber that is struggling. You know what I'm saying? That may lose their business and be like, you know what, man, give me $2,500 just one time. Let me fix up some things, get a little bit of upfront money, or don't, whatever. But I want 20% equity in the company. Obviously, you got to build that relationship, and they always end up asking me like, well, would you ever consider partnering? I don't know. I'll think about it. It just depends. Maybe CBDoil.com. Maybe I'll think about it. Of course, But getting in there and partnering with companies, then you get rev share. You get actual money from the amount of deals that you're bringing in. And if you're good, you'll make more money than you would on a retainer all day, every day.
Makes sense. So you guys run a digital marketing agency, basically. It's not necessarily we run a real estate marketing agency, we run a mortgage marketing agency. You run like full-blown digital media, digital marketing agency.
Yeah, man, It's funny because I normally tell people to kind of niche themselves out. But every time I try to do that, I just have so many people from different niches. Travis, please help. I end up saying yes. And I'm like, shit, I did it again. I just
because you guys have landed some really large accounts. Like, I mean, some of your restaurant deals, you know, you got some pretty big accounts across the region, right?
Yeah, man. And lately we've really been like getting some big, like there's a guy, this is like in negotiations right now. It's pretty much a done deal, but he's got a WAG bar, and I have a bunch of buddies that are in affiliate marketing. So I spent $100,000 to join the $100 million mastermind last year. And one of the guys that I met owns Icon Mills, Todd Abrams. They sell 200,000 mills a month or some stupid, ridiculous number. And you know, he wants the product. So we went over to him on Wednesday. He said he had 55,000 bars in stock, basically. Long story short, sold them the next day. He's like, I want all the bars. You know what I mean? So that is just one of the different streams. Like this guy has a product. He manufactures it. He distributes it. He does everything. He's got his brothers own the land and the cattle. They can do everything. So that's what I'm looking for in a deal is what are the margins, and like, can you do all of it? Because if you can do all of it, we can make some serious money. And so, you know, that's actually Michael's basically like his brother. And we're going to take that company really, 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 really far. But that's another deal where we're going to go into a partnership instead of getting, you know, 10 grand a month, you know, or something like that.
You know what your problem is, Travis? You got the same disease that a lot of other people have, right? Which is like, it's like, ooh, opportunity. Let me jump on that, right? So that, because
and I have a question with that, because that's something that I think a lot of people do struggle with. But you mentioned earlier, you know, not doing everything on your own. So like, where was that kind of shift from like, I want to take every opportunity that comes to me. I want to do all the work, but obviously those two aren't going to match.
So that's a great question. And I'm actually really glad you asked that, because it's kind of a long story. So I may ramble a bit here, but I want to give you the context. I started working in just the real estate space. I did a lot of good work. I mean, I would have brokers move me into their office for certain hours a day to generate leads for their whole brokerage. And I did that for many years. I worked on the mortgage side. You know, one of my partners does about on the software side that we may or may not talk about. He does about $250 million in loans. And like, this is a guy that I just knew from doing this stuff back in the day.
Okay.
And so I did start off with one niche, and I did get a lot of testimonials, and I used to be really big on social media. If you went back 2 years ago, I mean, I was posting all the time. And I think that at the very beginning, I'm not saying that you should ever really stop. Maybe I'm not the best example, but I think that you should be definitely going. I used to go live all the time. I would go live, and I would just build an organic audience of all real estate. Like if you went through my 5,000 friends on Facebook, it's a little different now, 2 years later, because I've opened up to so many other businesses and niches. But it was all real estate. It was all real estate. It was all mortgage. And every time I would go live, I would have someone, you know, hit me up. And so I did that. And I know there's probably a lot of agencies out here, just people who own businesses in general, whether that's an agency or real estate. And, you know, when I went out on my own, you got to be very careful, because, you know, bad things can happen. And I had a business partner. He embezzled all the money. I'm a country boy, you know what I mean? Like I didn't even know what embezzlement was. And I kind of tell you this because I want to inspire you, because this was just this Christmas coming up. That was 2 years ago. That'll be 2 years in Christmas. I lost everything. I had a big 4,000, you know, it's not big, I guess. I had a 4,000 square foot home in Frisco. I had a $120,000 boat. I had an F-250, brand new Lexus for my girl. I had a baby, like everything was good. You know what I'm saying? And the guy was embezzling money, and we were saving up this fund to start flipping real estate, which is where I made, you know, a mistake. You just got to be careful. But he wiped it all out. Long story short, and he took off. And so I went to say, like, fuck everybody. You know what I'm saying? Fuck this shit. I'm doing it all on my own. And I did. And then I got to about 30 or 40 clients, and I was just miserable again. I wasn't able to spend time with my daughter, you know, and she was like 1 at the time. And you know, when I got kicked, I didn't get kicked out of my house. Luckily, my lease was up. I lived last year, just 1 year ago, I lived in a 1,200 square foot apartment from 4,000, where my shower was like at 5'10". I'm 6'3", and my shower was 4x4. I was like, what the fuck happened? It came out of nowhere. And so I really had to just reevaluate everything because we were killing it. You know, we were doing 30, 40, 50 grand, 60 grand a month, you know, within like our first like 8 months, you know what I mean? And so the growth rate was really, really fast. And I was like, okay, cool, this is great, you know, and then boom, it all like life hit me really hard, man. And, you know, I'm living in this apartment and I'll never forget it, man. I was like, I can't do this anymore by myself. I'm either going to have to go back and take a job, you know what I'm saying? Or something like that. Or I gotta find someone who can help me with the fulfillment. I'm making too many sales. And, you know, it was too many because I was getting so many sales that I wasn't able to perform because I was just getting so overwhelmed. And that's when, you know, about 2 years ago, I guess it's been about a year and a half ago, I met, you know, my business partner, Travis, who is a G. Thank God I met him. And it was funny because he was in a mastermind that we were both in that I'd invested into at the time. I'm a big fan in investing in masterminds. It's buying time and people's knowledge. It changed my life. But, you know, I met Travis and I was like, bro, I'll bring you $40,000 in business in 1 month. Watch. He's like, you ain't going to do that shit. You guess what? I did it. Brought him to business. He's like, all right, man, you know, let's talk. I went down there, I met with him. And that was like a big defining moment because I realized like, if I want to grow this and I really want to have all this freedom that you see on like Instagram and making this Wi-Fi money and all that shit, like you're going to have a team. You got to have a team. You can't do it by yourself. And when I did, man, when I just was like, Travis, here's all my clients. I trust you. Knock it out, you know, because I'd gotten screwed over before. So it was hard to trust someone. But I did it, you know, I went out on a limb. It's always a gamble. And leveraging that out and doing that, man, it took a lot of stress. I mean, a lot of stress, anxiety, and depression off of my shoulders because now I could not only just do the marketing and the ads and the funnels, like the easy shit, but now I had an opportunity to really go out and make any deal. I could go in and you want to talk about software? Shit. All right, let me watch a YouTube video real quick. Okay, I know how to talk about some software. And then I was just out there. I was networking. I was meeting people. I was shaking hands. I was joining masterminds. I was cold calling. I was scraping data, and I still do it. I send 50 Facebook messages a day. I send 50 emails a day, and I try to hit people up on LinkedIn if I have time. Actually, I don't really do that much anymore. I have VAs that do that for me, but that's later on down the road. But
right.
Yeah, man, that was probably one of the key moments for me. Was like, if I really want to grow this and I really want to be happy, I need to find someone who's way better than me at the back end, and that we make a good combo. Like me and him are like a yin and a yang. He's not going to go out and speak on stage or necessarily or go out and do all this because he's so busy doing everything on the back end. So it worked out perfectly. It was a huge breakthrough.
We got a question that says, where did you learn sales?
Streets, bro, man, the street.
Selling cars.
Like, seriously, so I was never, when I went to the military, I did 5 years. I got in a lot of trouble like when I was like 16, 17, 18 years old. Got in the military, cleaned my ass up. I got out. I was working with my brother, who is like a master mechanic. The dude's brilliant, man. I was working with him fixing cars, and there was this car salesman out there smoking cigarettes, talking shit to me like, now you think you're going to do something around here? I was like, oh, I'll sell you my first month. You know what I mean? And I had never done any sales. I didn't even know that car sales was even a job. Like I had never even thought to get into sales. It just so happened to just godsend. I met my very first mentor. His name was Fortunes O'Neill, and he taught me a lot of things about sales. He taught me about whenever he met me, he's like, you were in the military? He's like, I was like, yes, sir. He's like, you show up tomorrow and you got a job. You show up tomorrow in a suit and a tie and you got a job. The dude's like this tall. You know, he's like this short dude, but he was just so energetic. He would always walk around and he was like, sunshine, sunshine. He would just always walk around. And one of the things about sales that I learned from him is energy is everything. Right? You don't want to be too enthusiastic with someone on the phone and they think you're fake. You don't want to be a lame ass and be really, really weird. And so you got to have a happy medium. So through lots of failure, and lots of reading and books and just trial and error, I just over like my very first year in the car business, I was only selling, 8, 10 cars a month. I was nothing special, I'm like Michael Jordan, I didn't make the A team, but I worked really hard and I got really good. And then I got into positions that no one had gotten into in 15 years, like finance. I was the youngest finance guy ever. And I crushed every single sales thing that they had ever done. which was really cool because everyone doubted me, and I only had 30 days to learn the job. I literally just like, it was so hard because like the reason I learned sales is that I perform really well under pressure. Everyone is different. When I was in finance, I had 30 days. I would have to go into these finance offices and pitch people like $200, $300 a month more payment. And I would have my finance manager over here. I would have the whole family over here. And I'm just like all this pressure to get really, really good, really, really fast. So that helped. And just like, I did a lot of cold calling. I got told fuck off more times than I could count. And like, you got to kind of think outside the box. So let me back up a little. When I started getting really good, one of the things I did, I was like, well, fuck, you know, I was starting to get some referrals, and I was like, this is easy. I can get, you know, an additional 8-10 cars a month off of referrals. So every time I sold a car, I would bring them a sheet of paper that had 6 lines, and I would say, hey, I'm going back here and I'm getting your vehicle detailed right now. If you don't, do me a favor, like put your top 6 radio stations on here, and by the time I get it pulled around, I'll have all your stuff pre-programmed. You can just jam out when you drive off. And they're like, oh my God, that's so cool. No one's ever done that. I was like, hey, I really appreciate that. Hey, and if you like, you know, the experience that you did today, and I'd flip it over and I have a referral with 4 names. I would have 4 blanks and it's just a referral. I would just, if you don't mind, just help me grow my business. You know, I want to make sure that if you have any friends or family that are even possibly in the market, I just want to introduce myself. I'm not trying to, if they want to buy, cool. If they don't, that's cool too. So every deal that I did, I would turn that into 4 more opportunities. And I started selling 25, 30 cars a month. And I was making $12,000, $15,000 a month, which to me back then was a lot of money. I never made anything like that. So getting the referrals is a super easy way. But if you're not willing to make these cold calls, like when I first got there in 2010, I worked in the used car side, and fucking people would really try to fight you for a deal. You know what I mean? So you're like they'll actually like literally try to fist fight you for a deal. So you had to either get out there, and they called them ups. You know, you would walk out and you'd either have to do that or you'd have to bang out on the phone. And then I learned, I started to read a bunch of books on like sales and like psychology, like NLP and stuff like that, and how to just communicate better. Cause I had really bad PTSD back then. And I was short tempered and wired. I wasn't maybe the best communicator until I started reading a couple books, and maybe I can drop those in the link or somewhere so y'all can take a look at them. But
yeah,
I started learning how to communicate with people. So then I would go back to service, and I would befriend all the service people. And I said, anybody who comes back, who ever mentions anything, I want you to just let me know. And if they have, you know, close to 36,000 miles on their car, or because that's when the full bumper to bumper warranty would run out. I want you to just introduce me and come get me. And then I would break them off on every single commission. Even if I only made $200 on the commission, because it was like they call them minis, where you don't really make any money, I would still pay that. I would pay that service person the whole commission. You know what I mean? Because like I knew that $200 right now could be $800 or $2,000 later on down the road. So another really important thing that I learned was stop making decisions today. To an extent, I mean, I know you gotta make a living, and you gotta have money right now. But if you're making bad decisions, trying to get a couple $100 right now, instead of a long-term play, like having a lifetime value of your customer, you know, you're gonna have some problems, and you're probably not gonna make it. So I just got really good at sales through that, and then, I mean, everything that I've ever done, and the reason that I got so good is honestly because I've made thousands and thousands of calls. Honestly, I have. So that probably not the answer that you wanted to hear, but I mean,
practice, right?
You're going to have to go through the ringer. You're going to have to, you're going to have to hear all the objections to be like, well, my wife, you know, she doesn't want to, my wife isn't into it. You know what I'm saying? You know, but like there are things that you can do, precursors, to make sure that you have all the decision makers on the phone in the first place, to where you're, you know, if you can get all the things out, well, hey, is there anyone else who needs to be on the phone call right now to make a decision, or is this just you? And if they say it's just you, and then later on down the road, like, well, I got to talk to my wife. Hey man, like, you know, you told me on the phone, you know what I'm saying? Like that it was just your decision. You know what I mean? And like, I understand that you got to talk to your wife and all this other stuff, but you told me that this is just your decision. And if, let's just say we do have your wife's blessing, what do you think? Yes? All right, cool, man. Let's pull the trigger right now. And if she says no, I'll just give you your money back. No problem. But let's move forward today and take action, because that's what's going to happen. You know, there's going to be someone else who's your competitor that's going to do this. You know what I'm saying? So I would just, you know, just kind of, that's kind of like a little bit of the process of where I've been in the last 10 years.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Joe says, "Oorah."
Hey.
So what were some of those books that really kind of clicked with you? I'm sure you probably read a bunch of them, and there's probably a bunch that you're like, can't remember because they didn't do much, but there's probably a few, maybe 1, 2, or 3 that were.
Let me get into my Audible real quick while we're talking. So first things first, the dealership brought in mentors. So, of course I'm going to draw a blank right now. One of the biggest car guys ever, they brought him in, and they paid, and I would listen to him, and every time that he would go out on the showroom, he would just make a huge scene. He would be like, "Showtime!" And like, he would go out there and he would just demand people's attention, and then he would be out there closing deals. The dude never met so I was like, well, shit, this guy's got something. He knows something that I just don't. And I was just, the number one thing is you got to be open and willing to listen to people and try to learn, because there's so much to learn. You got to be open and willing to learn from people. And I would just understand that I would listen. So he was a mentor. I read all his shit. Oh my God, it's killing me that I don't know his name. And then they hired another one. You probably know who this guy is. Back in the day, and his shit was garbage. Grant Cardone. I mean, he had the disease close. Well, and the do it anyways close. Like if someone was like, well, the payment's too high, one of his closes was like, well, do it anyways. You know, like that was like the Grant Cardone. But there was a lot of shit that was really, really good in there. And I learned from Grant Cardone. And then when I got up into the new car management position before I moved into finance, I had another mentor called Alan Ram. He unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago in his private plane. Him and his girlfriend, they crashed. But he was another really good mentor of mine. And so those 3 people, you know, find mentors in your niche, in your space that are really good, you know. And nowadays everyone seems like you know, the problem is now, back then it wasn't like this, or maybe it was, I just didn't know because I wasn't in the space, but I'm in the internet marketing space, and you gotta be very careful, you know, with who you have as your mentor. I mean, I'm a math guy, so numbers talk, you know what I mean? Like I hear what you're doing and it sounds great. Let me see, you know, let me see what you're doing. Let me see, you know, it's no big deal. Like when we have clients, you know, we tell them like, you know, hey, one of our clients is doing he did $4.3 million last month. Well, let me see. Okay, cool. We'll pull up the back end and you can see, and that's credibility. Then they know a motherfucker, hey, I'm not lying, you know, like this is the real deal. So, you know, if you're going to find a mentor, make sure they're credible. This is going to be maybe some controversial stuff when it comes to books. I read a lot of NLP. I read the 48 Laws of Power. I have this one. Funny enough, my owner gave me this one, right? This is one of the first books I really ever read, The Wealthy Barber. This is the exact same copy he gave me. Kind of a game changer, and it's not like a major game changer, but you're going to learn some stuff. This was a game changer. Okay, this is by Robert Greene. The 33 Strategies of War. It's badass. The 48 Laws of Power. The 4-hour work week. I just pick and choose little things out of these. Like this may not work for everybody. You know, this probably won't work for you if you're a new business, but you can learn some cool shit. You know what I mean? And then one of my favorite books of all time, man, is God, there's so many. I'm looking at them. The Power of Positive Thinking, Content Inc. I mean, the one that, if you really want to read a really cool book, Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. If you get it on Audible, it's like this book was like banned for years because like the shit that he says in here, it's like it'll really change. It's called Outwitting the Devil. This one's. I know I've given a lot of books. This is probably one of my favorite books I've ever listened to on Audible. Period. And it's about this guy wrote this book in 1938 and never published it because the government would kill this guy. You know what I'm saying? And he died, and then before his wife passed away or whatever, she published it. So it's like this guy is actually interviewing the devil and forcing the devil to convince his secrets. So it's like it's crazy because it gives you a whole nother perspective on on the psychology, life, school. Like when I read this book, I pulled my daughter out of school. COVID-19, all that kind of happened at the same time, but I pulled my 3-year-old out of her private school, and I'm like, nope, this shit ain't gonna fucking work for me, because it's just not, like, you gotta read it. I could go on all day about this, and then
You pulled her out of school like for the day or like for permanently?
permanently. I have a full-time nanny and tutor that teaches her from 9 to 5. She comes to the house. They have the whole upstairs and playroom and movie room up there, and I lock up my doors and I work. But I wanted to control the education from a different viewpoint, a different standard. Because you got to read the book. If you're watching this, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, and if you read this book, I want to hear your opinions, because it's very, very controversial.
What's it called? Sorry, what's it called again? I think Matt's taking notes, right?
Outwitting the Devil.
Yeah, Outwitting the Devil. I'm gonna grab it right now.
Napoleon Hill. It's so good, man. It's just so good. Never split the difference. And Content Inc. You need to listen to Content Inc. especially now, more than ever. So those are like maybe my top 5 or 10 books. If anyone wants my lists or anything, all the books that I have, the one that I'm reading right now is The $1 Trillion Coach. It's a leadership playbook from Silicon Valley, Bill Campbell. I'm only into it about 15 minutes, so I can't give you a good review, but I have a feeling it's going to be really, really good. So read a lot, okay? And if you're in sales and you're starting your business, you need to master sales. You need to cold call. You need to do as much outreach as you can. When I worked for one of the top internet marketers in the world, I was doing 300 cold calls a day. I mean, he would have a CRM, Infusionsoft. I would go through and I'd do 300 a day. I had a piece of paper at the time. I didn't do Excel like I do now. I was like hand doing this shit. This is just like 4 years ago, but I would go through and I would write everyone that I called. I'd just write it really, 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 really small, and I'd circle the ones that answered. And I would circle the ones that were interested in another color and move those to a new sheet. And the other 300 I didn't give a shit about. I'm just banging through. If you're interested, great. If you're not, cool. I can find 10 people out of 300, to make some decent money. So, you're going to have to bang it out, and you're going to have to read lots of sales books and study psychology. I love to study psychology. I do. I really do. I love to read people's body language, on Zoom. I can read people's body language. It helps in person. It helps in networking events, all sorts of shit. I actually wrote a full-blown 100-slide webinar on networking. So if anyone wants it, I'll send it to you. It's pretty cool. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, we don't give shit away here, by the way.
Oh, okay.
This is not what we do on this show.
Right.
People want stuff, they've got to engage. So don't just message Travis, hey, give me that, I want that slide deck.
Yeah.
No, they've got to engage, man. We need engagement. Yeah. That's really cool. And thanks for sharing all that. Thanks for sharing all that information on the sales side of things. I think one of the things that people, sales is not for everybody, right?
Sure.
And business is not for everybody as well. I mean, what do you do if, you're the guy that does work in the back end, and that's what you like to do, and you're not, maybe super comfortable? Like, should you just not start a business? Or should you, because the reality is starting a business is about sales, right? Without sales, you have no business.
I agree 100. I do personally agree 100,000%. Like you said, it's really situational, because it does not everyone's the same. I mean, if you don't think you can cut it, and you're not passionate about it, and you ain't willing to lose everything, it may not be the right journey for you, and that's okay too. You try it out. You don't need to have an ego and just be like, man, if it's just not for you and you're not happy, I mean, don't do it. You know what I mean? But if you just really want to make it work, but you're just not good at sales, then you hire a sales team and you hire people who are good at sales. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you can find, if you're really good at what you do, then you go and you find someone like me and you partner with them and say, hey, look, man, like, I can't do this on my own. And if it's got to be, you got to make sure that you have agreements, right? You can't just go, hey, I'm gonna give you 50%. Well, you can give someone 50% and do it for 6 months, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, at 6 months, we'll reevaluate the situation and based on how many sales you made, or 3 months, or whatever that term is. You know what I'm saying? But there's got to be standards. You can't just partner with someone and if they don't do the work. I mean, fuck that. That's why I would never I don't partner with people long-term. Like one of the big companies that we're working for right now is paying us $7,500 a month, which isn't a lot, but we're doing that for 6 months. We're doing multiple platforms for them. And at that point in time, we may straight JV on this forever together, right? But they didn't want to partner right away, and I would have, I'm cool with it because their product is legit, but I didn't push that because if we're gonna do 6 months, I'll make the $7,500 a month, for 6 months, and then we'll JV, and then everyone wins, and we have a mutual interest if they want to. They didn't want to get into a contract right away, and that's totally okay. And I would suggest anyone watching this not to necessarily get into a contract right away. I think that people need to prove it, put their money where their mouth is. That would be my best suggestion. If you really want to start a business, you're not really great at sales, find your yin to your yang. Find someone who can complement you and do what you love to do, and let them do what they love to do.
Makes sense. And I just put that list of books that you gave us down in the comments below, so if anybody's looking for those. We've got multiple people looking for the slides. And I know you said networking was important. So how are you doing networking with COVID?
I'm not, I'm not anymore like that necessarily.
Yeah, you actually ended up having to cancel a bunch of shows, right?
A lot. This year, a lot. I don't even want to say. This is a big year. I had 50 stages planned out. So they're all done. Even like I'm training for an Ironman right now. Every Ironman this year, they got white. It is ridiculous. I think that people need to make their own decisions and go from there. But that's kind of a deeper question. And because you can build webinars and drive traffic to webinars and host events and Zoom calls like we're doing right now. And that's how you network with people. That's what it comes down to right now. And I'm working on a bunch of different webinars myself so that I can drive traffic on the real estate side to that. Big stuff that we're working on. Shane's very familiar with it, but that's a really big key, to be able to, you need to have an irresistible offer, and you need to be able to get people to know you so you can do paid traffic or organic traffic. If you're unwilling to go live and do the organic thing that I told you that you have to do, like if you want to grow your business, you better start posting more and going live and inviting people to your live and stuff like that. But if you don't want to do that, then you need to build a webinar, and then you need to drive traffic to a webinar and continue to push them down into your funnel to where you have an opportunity to sell them or invite them to a big group presentation, something like that too. So.
And the thing is, I actually think, aside from, everything that's been going on with COVID and just, the impact on business and the economy and everything else, obviously it's not a good thing, but there are other good things that have come out of it. Sure. One of them is that you can do a lot of this stuff. Like people are getting more and more familiar with Zoom, right? And these sort of online things are becoming sort of the norm now, right? Yeah. So whereas before, like if you wanted to host a networking event or you wanted to provide training, say for a brokerage or something like that, you'd be calling them up or stopping in and, reaching out to them and say, hey, I'm doing some free training, would love to invite your team over, and you build some rapport with that, provide some free value, and then try to do a little pitch after that. Now you can do all this online, exactly. But you basically just do the same thing, pick up the phone and reach out to them and just say, hey, we're doing this. I'd like to offer it to you for free, but now everything's online, right? And just because of everything that's going on, everybody understands that, okay, well, you can't come into the office and do this, right? So great, we'll show up. And one of the things that I've noticed, because we've been doing a lot more of these, and we've been getting some amazing success. I've shared some of these with you guys. We've been doing a lot more of these events. And one of the things that I've noticed is we're just getting way more people. It's
crazy, man. It is.
Yeah.
Because more people are online now than they ever have been. And more people are, you know how many people that didn't even know what Zoom was?
One of the ones that we did before, one of the questions that we ask is, are you familiar with Zoom? Like nobody's ever said no now. It's like, everybody's like, yeah, no, we know what to do. We know what to do. Right. Everybody's just super familiar and they're open to it, which is really cool. Plus they get to do it in the comfort of their own home. Right. Yeah. And so it's easier to get people on. I just think it's a huge win-win, right? And I don't think enough of us are taking advantage of it.
Oh, for sure. No, it's a huge convenience when it comes to time as well, because now I don't have to fly somewhere. Now I don't have to worry about, booking out seats, and paying for all that out front. And we're driving to a meeting in Frisco or Dallas or wherever. Really now I'm really not going to get out of the house unless I'd rather just do a Zoom meeting unless it's something real important.
Yeah, for sure. And you can have 10 or you can have 50 or 100 or 1,000, doesn't matter, right? And it doesn't matter if you have 10 or 50 or 100, right?
Yeah.
You didn't order any food.
Yeah.
Right?
Robin did that live, dude. He had like tens of thousands of people on it.
Yeah.
More than he's ever had. And I'm like, that is insane. I don't remember the number, but it was something stupid. I mean,
Who was that?
Tony Robbins.
Yeah, I saw that. That was incredible.
Did you have like over 100-something thousand people attend that?
I'm not sure.
Oh, well,
I just saw some of the pictures of like the screens he had stuff to watch. It was like, oh my gosh, this is insane.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. So like you got to get online, you got to get in front of the camera, you got to make more posts. I mean, all that's going to help. It's all. There ain't going to just be one. There ain't no silver bullet. Not that I've found yet, personally, in my life and my experience. I mean, it's just an accumulation of all of the above and being consistent and persistent.
Makes sense. Yeah, and I know you had mentioned talking a little bit about like getting equity in companies and whatnot, and we do want to get to that. I'm going to send out a notification to the list here with the chatbot link to the video. In the meantime, you also mentioned investing in masterminds. So how many masterminds have you invested in? How do you rate your masterminds? Like, this one's great, this one was a waste, and how do you find winning masterminds?
I think, man, this is just my personal opinion, but if I spend anything that I go to and I invest in, I can pull, even if I just pull one thing out of it, it's worth it to me because, maybe I learn one thing that helps me close a $1,000 deal. Well, I just go do that 10 times. I paid for it. Now I do it 100 times. I've 10x that investment. I spent $100,000. I joined the mastermind last October, and I've definitely made more than that from that because I've gotten.
Sorry, what was the name of the mastermind you joined for $100,000?
$100 million, $100 million mastermind experience. The 100 MME. Actually, this is the cool backpack I got for $100,000. You know what I mean?
Hey, Matt, didn't you just get a new gold card, an Amex gold card or something? Sign us up, man. What are you doing?
Yeah. So I mean that was a big risk and a big gamble, but I really believe that I believe in myself that's the most important thing, and I believe that I can turn water into wine. If I went there, like some of my biggest clients right now, I got CBD oil out of that. I ended up getting this huge real estate deal out of that. I got I got the pills that I was telling you about. I got them. They referred me to Be Serene, which is the doctors who are doing the anxiety pills. And then I got multiple clients out of that I made that money back. I mean, tenfold. But you could have gone to that and completely just wasted it and just tried to look cool. I mean, I was partying with Chris on top of Dan Bilzerian's house. We had Tyga there rapping. We were on top of the house partying in Beverly Hills in his mega mansion. I mean, it was crazy. Chris Tucker was there and a bunch of other people. The people that are in this mastermind are like Billie Jean and Cody Sperber and all the biggest influencers. There's 20 like Jim Quick's one of the coaches. They got a couple of billionaires. Everyone in the $100 million mastermind, if you're in that, they either spend over $100 million a year on Facebook. They have over 100 million views. Everything's over where they've sold companies. Like one of the guys sold his marijuana companies for like $700 million. So when I went to that first event, well, it sucks because we didn't get to go to the other two events because COVID shut everything down. I've only been to one event, right? But it's cool. They'll have it whenever they have it. But if you're going to join a mastermind, you better be very clear on what are you trying to get out of the mastermind. Because when I went there, I was like, I'm talking to Billie Jean, I'm talking to boom, boom, boom. I knew who I wanted to talk to, what I wanted to get out of it, and kind of an idea of like, how I would want to capitalize on it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that there are lots of good masterminds. There's lots of bad masterminds. You're going to get what you make out of it, but don't join a mastermind just because it looks cool. Have a plan. If you don't have a strategy, you're done. If you don't have goals and an actual legit strategy of where you're going to be, you're going to have a hard time. You know what I mean? So if I can say anything when it comes to masterminds is join as many as you want. I guarantee I've spent over $200,000 on masterminds for damn sure. And I've made every single one of those back, and it'll multiply 100 times.
Well, I mean, just the connections alone, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't get in front of those people unless like there would be like the reality is how long would it have taken you aside from this to get in front of some of these big names?
You're
right?
not. I mean, you're not. You're gonna pay to attend one of their webinars, one of their stage speaking events instead of being up there speaking with them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like you're really not. You're not gonna get it. There's a fine.
Chris Tucker's phone number.
Who?
Did you get Chris Tucker's phone number? Can you text him whenever you want?
Chris Tucker that much.
I'll go. You like him anyways?
I just want to watch Rush Hour, bro. We're cool. I have a picture with him. It actually just popped up in my timeline. It's so funny, but yeah, I mean, I was very much more interested in some of the billionaires, and one of my buddies, and he lives out in the West Coast, young dude, 28 years old. He's sold multiple companies. He's probably sold 2 companies for like $80 or $90 million, and he's just a down to earth dude who's really good at e-commerce, and he builds up. We could talk all day on how to build up companies like e-commerce, get the data and flip it and sell it for millions of dollars and shit like that. I mean, that's for probably another time, but he's very good at doing that. You know what I mean? And he's
maybe that's a mastermind.
he won't do mastermind. He's like,
that's a mastermind we can sell. Who wants to join the mastermind?
Yeah,
we'll talk about it on the private side, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can talk about that. There's a lot of things that we can really dive. I know I'm doing a lot of high level overview stuff, and nothing really detailed. But
well, it's cool too because I think the other side of it too is it's like sure, I mean maybe we got some people in here that are just getting started. Some people are maybe a little bit more ahead, but it's kind of the inspiration is there, right? It's like okay, well this is interesting because like these are some of the things that we all aspire to. Like if we're starting a business, we're not just doing this to make $5,000 a month.
Yeah,
right. We're starting businesses to make 10 grand, then 100, then $1 million, and then 10 million. Like all of us are, I mean, maybe not all of us, but, and it's just kind of nice to be able to, to have a conversation with, people that also aspire to that. Right. And it's inspiring that, you're now paying for $100,000 masterminds,
Dude, it's just like, man, like, one thing that you can hear from one person, whether it's me or you or someone else, like be open, just be open and like, be like, okay, well, shit, it is real. It is doable. It is possible. It is, but be realistic. It's going to take a lot of hard work and it's going to take a team, and you can only get so big. They say solopreneurs, but I don't really believe, I think that if you really want to grow in sky, if you're cool, with 10, 20, 30, 40 grand a month, like stuff like that. I mean, you could probably swing that on your own if you really wanted to, but if you really want to grow and, unless you're just a one lucky person who just gets really lucky and sells a company for 10 million, I mean, you're probably not doing it by yourself. So yeah, I mean, I think that you should just be open and willing to listen and learn and just be inspired and hear one, just that, like, cause there were just times like in my life where I would just hear one thing and I'm like, like, damn, like when I talked to Michael about some of the other stuff, like sometimes he would say some things to me. Michael's one of my mentors. That's why, but he would just say things differently. I've kind of heard him before, but I would just hear it with a little bit different of a twist. Like cat and dog are like fighting over here, but they're best friends, random. But he would just say things with a little bit of a twist, and it just clicked in my head, and I would go take action. That's one thing that I will say you're going to have to do is like when you learn this stuff and you hear this stuff, you got to go take action. You take your notes and implement. It ain't going to be perfect.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've always been a big, I always like, I like what you've talked about in terms of like networking and connecting with people and the fact that you are a connector, right? I mean, that's, and I've always felt that like, that was the type of person I was as well. I'm not crazy about this. Like I like sales, right? I like the sales side of it. I hate fucking cold calling. It's like, that's the worst. Matt loves it. So like, it's like, he's hitting with it, but I mean, I think one of the big things too, is just making, surrounding yourself with people that are successful and making sure that, and you joining that 100 million or that $100,000 mastermind, that's what that allows you to do. Us connecting with you and us connecting with Travis and so on, with an agency, like you guys are spending $1 million a month in ad spend, right? Like this is, you guys are, like that's what, that's the level you guys are at. And it's like, this is what people should be doing. You should be connecting with people. You should be networking with people. And these connections and these networks start to open up new opportunities.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Every single time I step out the door, I have one goal in mind, and that is to, basically meet and talk to as many people as I possibly can. I'll go in and grab everyone's business cards, and the next day I'm calling them, "What's up, dude? Like, how's it going? Hey, what's up?" And it's not so cold there anymore. You know what I mean? Because like, you're gonna have to do a lot of things at the beginning that you don't. I hate cold calling. I don't do cold calling anymore. You're not gonna pay me to cold call. I'm not gonna do it. You know what I mean? Because I don't have to. I have people reaching out to me. I have ads and other different ways to do it. But you're probably gonna have to do that at the very beginning, or go to the businesses. Like, I am definitely not afraid to walk to a chiropractor and talk to a doctor or try to get a meeting. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I go in there, hey, look, I'm willing to go in here and put my name on the line and my ego on the line to just have an opportunity to earn your business and see if we can help you make more money where it's mutually beneficial. They're most of the time, they're going to give you an opportunity. They may turn you away. Oh, well, on to the next one. There's so many businesses out there. Just don't get attached to an outcome. Don't get attached to, well, if I get told no all day today, I suck. You may need to reevaluate your pitch. You know what I'm saying? But it's all a numbers game.
No, 100%. And you guys, I see we got a bunch more people that popped in when the chat bot went out, because I know I mentioned talking about getting some equity in some of these deals. So if you guys are watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. I know we also talked about
anybody's got questions too, right? Like, if anybody's got questions for Travis, especially on the sales side of things, and whatever else you're doing, right? Like, it's just your entire journey has been so interesting. I want to talk to you about time, because I know like you and I have talked a lot, over the past couple of months. I don't get how you do what you do in 24 hours.
The same thing about you,
and
bro.
Plus, even before we started Whiskey Thursday, we talked about, like, you guys are talking about playing Call of Duty. It's like, where the fuck are you? Like, how are you guys playing Call of Duty, right? Like, where is it that you find that time? So I want to learn a little bit about, like, how you're breaking up your time. What are your priorities throughout your day? And how you're achieving whatever you're achieving, right? You've got young kids, you've got a wife, right? So you're not any different than any of us. And you're training for an Ironman, which is insane. With that, like, it's
that's
just
a lot.
that's waking up at 5:30 in the. So I want, anyways. After we go through the equity part of this, I want to understand how you're breaking up your time, because I don't.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really, I get asked that a lot. I get that a lot, actually. That's a good one. You want to go over the equity stuff first?
Let's do it. Well, actually,
if anybody wants to, I don't see any engagement. So if nobody wants to listen to the equity side of it, we'll just, after we're done Whiskey Thursday, we'll just hop on and we'll, end the live, and
we'll do a
Zoom. we'll do our own little mastermind. We'll cool with it. But guys, if you want to listen, or you want to hear about the equity side of this,
Duty mastermind.
Hey, we'll talk about it, bro, while we're playing. You know what I mean? Dude, I think you may have walked away. One of my good buddies, his Dustin Black owns Black Tie Moving. His business partner is the lead singer from Rascal Flatts. Well, I was on there the other day, and I saw, he's playing with people like Jason Aldean. You know what I mean? Like, huge, like, country artists, and everyone's playing Call of Duty. Damn it, you got to make time for it, okay?
Yeah. I mean, I guess my question would be, like, is he going to carry his weight if he's coming in there? Like, I know he's busy. He's doing all his music stuff. You going to carry your weight? Because, I mean, it's cool. But
we don't have to play together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want a chicken dinner at the end of the day.
It's great. And what I do, it's not necessarily meant for everybody. And I wouldn't suggest that you go out and sign up for an Ironman. I was in the military, and I kind of got, like, out of shape. Not like out of shape, but I just kind of got, like, I felt like I was just getting soft. I wasn't running anymore. I wasn't working out. I had knee problems from snowboarding, and I had dislocations from wakeboarding and stuff like that, and really tearing up my body. And so I took a couple years off. I got lazy, got soft, and I signed up for ultra 100-kilometer race. It's ultra marathon, and it's 62 miles. And it was one of the worst things I ever did in my life. It was horrible. But once I was done and I recovered, my feet were black and blue, and
toenails falling off. Man, I've read about that stuff. It was rough.
It was a bitch, dude. It was a bitch, because I was running. I thought it was a trail run, what they consider a trail run was running up and down a mountain that was having jagged rocks and shit. So I was not ready for that. But when it comes to, we'll stick with the partnering on companies.
Well, yeah, before we do that, guys, if you want to hear about the partnering stuff and everything else we're talking about, you're enjoying the live, just like say something, say yes, or hashtag live or anything like that. Let us know you're watching. If you're tuning in from YouTube, make sure to come into the Real Estate Marketing Conversion Mastery Facebook group. We come live every Thursday for a Whiskey Thursday, and we have amazing guests like Travis Plumb that jump on these, and we share a ton of value here. Yeah, guys, it's just so quiet. It's driving me.
I know it's an oddly quiet night. I'm noticing.
No. Yeah, so Doug says we're just mesmerized by Travis.
I don't know about that. I'm just trying to provide some value here.
I love it.
It's all good. It's all good. And of course, if anybody has any questions, make sure to drop them inside the comments here. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about sort of the equities side of things. And this is something that comes up, especially in the real estate marketing side of things, right? Because a lot of times you get clients that are like, hey, you know what, instead of doing retainer, why don't we do commission splits, right? And I'm sure, Travis, you've come across this. I've come across it. Matt's come across it. And I'm sure plenty of other people have come across this. Is this the right thing to do, or is it something that, like, what should people be doing, right? Like, what is the right solution here for this?
Man, it's a good question, and again, like everything else, I just think that it's all situational. When it comes to, anytime it comes to partnering, you need to be very careful with who you're partnering with, because depending on your splits and stuff like that, like, if you're doing 50-50, you got to be really confident that the other person is going to be willing to bring 50% to the table as well. Not just in making money and taking money, but putting money back into the business. I mean, if I want to spend $10,000 a month in ad spend, are you going to spend $10,000 a month in ad spend? No. Okay. Well, you're not gonna be 50-50 with me. That's just not how it works. So for real estate, I think that real estate is probably a little different than if you have an agency. So if we're talking about real estate, you could probably find a partner out there, whether it's a mortgage partner, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. I see a lot of partners going on. I have a partner in the real estate side of things. We split everything 50-50. He's a good friend of mine, and that's just what we decided to do. You just got to make sure you got to make sure that the value's there. And like I said, I'm a math guy, so I break everything down to math numbers and what makes sense. That's it. Nothing personal. It's all math. If you're an agency, you need to when you partner with someone, you gotta, depending on if it's like just a JV, you still gotta have an open book. Like, you gotta open bank accounts together. You gotta make sure that you see all the money that's coming into the account, and making sure that it's distributed, and having your CFOs, and making sure that all the finances are good, and that no one's embezzling money, which I made a huge mistake. I told y'all earlier, I didn't have a CFO until I hired an outside CFO, and he was like, Travis, you're in trouble, dude. Like, you got to get out of this now. So get your cards right when you go into doing this. But like, if you're like let's just say you're really good at generating leads for a high ticket person, right? Like a plumber or a pool builder or something like that. Mm-hmm. You can, man, a lot of times if you're really good at getting results, they'll ask you to partner. If you talk about it, but you don't ask. You put the bug in their ear, and then they always come back around and be like, well, what about that partnering option that you kind of mentioned? Well, sometimes, we may partner with people. Depends, it just depends on the product and the service, and who we don't want to, we really truly do not want to partner with everybody. There's just too much work. But the few people that there are a lot of profits, and there's a good margin in there, you want to profit, you want to do that partnership. I think, I think it's really good, because like, we're doing this beef jerky deal, and there's big enough margins in there to take, not take really a lot of money up front and building out basically the store and the Amazon and everything that we're going to be doing. But there's so much in the margins that even if we were getting 20%, we're making shitloads of money. I mean, we literally sold the 55,000 bars that he had on stock. He can do 310,000 bars a month. He had 55 and stuff. We sold it in one day, so I mean, let's, I can break down the math if I can find a calculator, but let's just say, there's a $2 profit in there, that's $100,000 in profit. So, you know what I'm saying? So
In a day, like it took you a day to do that?
Huh?
It took you a day?
What's that?
It took you a day to make
Yeah,
100 grand.
less than a day. Yeah, I was done. Yeah, less
Yeah,
than a day.
it seems like a lot of work, man. I don't know if I would have taken that deal.
The deal's done. Yeah, we just introduced them to the right people. Like that's what I'm saying. Like going to these masterminds and investing in these things, just happen to run into the right people, build the relationships. Don't be scared to talk to people, and ask. Always ask for the sale. We went down there and we spent 20 minutes sitting in front of him. We showed him the product. We talked a little bit. He said if the margins are there, so like you got to get down into the math. You need to make sure that if you're partnering with people, they got to be willing to show you what their profit and loss is as well. You know, if you're partnering with like a plumbing company and they're like about to file bankruptcy, that may not be the right one, but maybe you're partnering with a plumbing person or dentist or whatever that is, and they're doing well, but they really want to do a lot more, and your agency can provide a lot more business, bringing more value than what they're bringing, than what the partner's doing by themselves. When you have a good value proposition and you can really help people, you can go in there and you can swipe equity in people's companies for sure. And then you're in there, then you're legitimately in there, but you don't want to get into doing that if you're, you just got to be careful. You got to be open with people. If you're new, be like, hey, like I'm kind of new, but I'm a badass, and we can try this for a few months. And if you like it, maybe we can partner together. I partner with a couple people. So that changed the game for me because like we partnered. Well, man, I don't know if I should really talk about money. We've partnered with a bunch of businesses. Like CBD oil. I'm a big fan of CBD. I'm a big fan of THC. I'm a big fan. I love that product, and I love the owner. I love the CEO. He's one of my boys, and being able to have such good skills in communication and marketing and software development, all this other stuff, building a team who can do things that I could never do. It's gotten me into doors that now I own businesses. I own multiple businesses, and I don't have to do that much work. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a whole team that does the fulfillment, and you're partnering with the company. And so as long as I continue to make sure that the job is getting done, it doesn't matter if I'm doing it, doesn't matter if Travis is doing it, doesn't matter who. I'm really giving y'all some shit. So like this is this is stuff that you probably wouldn't hear, but like you don't have, like if you have other people doing that work, as long as that's getting done, you're getting paid. You know what I'm saying? So that's a really smart way to go in, partner with people, do a great job, get multiple businesses. You can still do your agency and get $2,000 and $10,000 retainers and all that stuff. But if you ever have an opportunity to partner with a big company, you have every single resource and tool available to do that. You just got to lock it in. You got a lot of agencies don't even think about it. That's one of the things, like people aren't even, they're just trying to get like $1,000 or a couple $1,000 at a time for a retainer. And like, I don't know, man, that ain't going to cut it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to do, we've had multiple 6-figure months. I haven't had a 7-figure month yet, but I'm sure that's coming down the line, sooner rather than later. But getting equity in companies and partnering with people and JVing with people, there's a lot of research. You got to have attorneys. It's a very powerful tool. You can make a lot of money.
Makes sense. You said you haven't hit a 7-figure month yet, and I'm guessing you're talking net revenue.
Yeah, exactly.
So
net revenue, yes.
There you go. Yeah, because you said you're spending $1 million a month, so hopefully.
Yeah, we do that, but yeah, I mean, we probably spend anywhere from like 1 to 1.2 on Facebook, and we do definitely get over the 7 figures. Like Taco Cabana is a big client. They spend a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But that's in order to net $1 million a month. I mean, you got to be doing some serious volume. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I mean, there's companies that we partner with that we've gotten millions of shares, and so it's you can't count those chickens necessarily, but they're there and they're real, and those are things that'll just grow over time. That's something that me and we spend a lot of money and we spend a lot of time building that stuff out on the front end, so that way a year or 2, 5 years from now we can really benefit. So you gotta look at those opportunities as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Now you said you had booked like 50 stages this year. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What are you talking about on the stages? What are you doing there?
I talk about sales, man, and marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I love to talk about marketing and funnels and all that stuff. So it just depends. It just depends on who I'm speaking to. Normally you have, well, it's just different for everybody, but three different sales presentations or speaking engagement, whatever. You pick three. You know what I'm saying? They could be motivational. They could be informational. You know what I'm saying? Like those are different types of things. So like one of them could be like if I'm going to if I'm talking in front of a bunch of realtors, I may be talking about marketing, advertising. I may be talking about sales. I may be talking about networking. Those I normally have those three that I go to. Like sales, networking, and marketing. Those are some of the ones that I normally talk about. But when you're doing that, you have an end goal in mind. So when I'm speaking in front of these stages, maybe there's 50 people or 150 or 200 or 300 people or whatever, nothing like crazy. I'm not there yet. But, regardless of that, my main focus is to get people interested in who I am, provide massive amounts of value to the audience, and have a couple people sign up with my agency. That's what it used to be. Now, I mean, I'm not going to get into it too much right now, but the number one thing that I can say is everything that you need to do really does need to be in alignment. Like if I'm going to go and speak in front of 100 realtors, I could get them into my agency, but there's a lot of other things that are way more valuable than $1,000 or $2,000 a month client. And that's the end goal. I have that so hyper focused with the software that we're developing for the marketing space. I can't really talk too much about that. I just can't. It's going to change the game. It's advertising in 3 clicks. You basically will never have to build an ad. Again, you'll just launch it through, our stuff. But anyways,
it's like, you're like, let me just add that.
Clicks.
But anyways,
I just want to talk about it, but I can't. There's some really good stuff, but
Matt knows a little bit about it.
Oh, okay, cool.
I did mention a little bit about it.
And that's cool. We're almost ready, but we're not ready yet. And some of the integrations and API and stuff like that's pretty top secret.
Definitely game changer for sure.
It is a game changer. And so everything that I do is going to be hyper focused. I'm still going to do my agency. I'm going to work with bigger companies. I mean, I don't know, like it's a process. Like, I may not be doing the smaller, retainers for 2,000 or 5,000. I mean, maybe I will. I'll just hire all that out. I'll pull in a CEO. I'll hire a CEO. I'll have him, be the CEO, and I'll kind of step back because I'm only going to partner with a few companies. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 more, and then I'm doing a bunch of really, really cool stuff in the real estate business. And so I'm going to spend a lot of my time on the real estate side. You know what I mean? Like we'll obviously always have the agency. We'll always focus. It'll always be there. It'll continue to grow. I just have some things that I'm going to be doing on the real estate side. So that's where when I go speak on stage, it'll all be in alignment with that.
Okay. Makes sense. It makes sense.
Doug here says, can I get on the list? And I think that Doug's part of the academy, so he's one of the members there. Absolutely. I think you can get on the list. I think part of it, just the relationships we've been able to develop with Travis and his partners and so on. I think some of this kind of, some of the things that these guys are developing and working on, we're looking to bring back to the academy and to some of the members there as well. So we're pretty excited about some of these things.
It's going to be huge, man. It's going to disrupt. It's going to be a disruptor. So it's going to be cool.
Love it. Well, we do have some questions here. Let me see if we can find where they start here. 1 second.
I actually think we answered them all.
No, we missed one. What's one tip you can give us on how to close a deal?
One tip.
What's your secret
weapon?
What
do they sell?
Agency services to real estate agents, I believe.
One of the best tips that I could probably give. I mean, to me personally, I mean, if you're trying to, okay, so I guess I'm trying to understand the question. Are you trying to close someone like a one call, one close, like one call? Is that what you're trying to do? Can they respond?
They can, but it might take a minute. I don't know. Let's see.
I just want a little bit more context because there's a different way to close someone when you're trying to close them on the first call.
Ryan Fletcher. Okay.
Huh?
That was Ryan Fletcher. So Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan. It just depends. I mean, if you're trying to close them like on one call, it gets kind of more of a challenge to do that nowadays. But you're going to have to leave yourself some leg room, and you're going to have an irresistible offer and a takeaway close. You know what I'm saying? Like you can play, and it doesn't always work. Sometimes it works, and it's like, holy shit, that fucking actually worked. And then sometimes you're like, well, fuck, that didn't work. I think the takeaway close is really huge. Hey, man, like, you know, I'm only doing 10 of these deals for agents, and I'm not trying to sell you on anything, but I already have 8 people. I don't have any more room. You know, if this just isn't something that you're ready for, man, we're probably not a good fit. You know, so, and a lot of people, they feel challenged by that, you know, and they'll be like, no, I'm ready. I am ready for that. Or, I mean, you can mark up your normal price and be like, look, if you do this right now, I mean, instead of $14.97, I'll do it for $9.97. Or if you have like a setup fee, you can, if you do this right now, I'll even waive my setup fee and I'll get you going, you know, and I'll get you going. I'll have everything up and running in the next 48 to 72 hours. You know, there's multiple different ways to close a deal. It just depends on the context. Like, I think that,
sorry to interrupt, Trav, but I think another important is really understand, like, really have a product to sell.
yeah.
And I think a lot of times a lot of these, you know, agency owners and marketers just don't, it's kind of flip floppy, right? Like you really don't, it's like you just said it, right? It's like, okay, listen, like, here's my product. I have a setup fee and this is what I can do. Here's my downsell. Here's my upsell. These are my cross sells here. And then when I pitch somebody, this is what I can do with this, right? So if they're not ready to actually jump into this, I can downsell them to this, or I can waive these fees, or maybe I can do this a little bit differently to try to get them into it, right?
Dude, yeah, no, for sure, totally. I mean, there's just different ways to do it. And like, I don't know, man, like the thing about me is like, I did a lot of really hardcore closing. You know what I'm saying? I've closed lots and lots of people right now. I don't do that anymore. I'm just not afraid to just let a deal walk away, you know, like, you know, for me, if it's like that, but I'm at the point to where I don't have to take a deal too. So it's different. Like if I'm taking your last dollars, we're just not a good fit, and come hit me up, you know, in 6 months, but nothing's going to change. So maybe you should do it anyways. I mean,
it's like the Grant Cardone thing.
Nothing's going to change between now and then anyway. So I think we should take your last $1,000 and see what happens. But you know, I don't like to hardcore close too much. I'm really a relationship guy, and people they're like, man, I'm already sold. I'm not really selling. I ask questions like, what even made you decide to reach out to me? You know, like I ask a lot of questions, like, you know, like my top questions would be, you know, like, you know, what drove you to reach out to me? Or if everything works out according to plan, what does that look like to you? If you're just trying to sell and you don't know what the fuck their goals are, you're not going to close them. You know what I mean? You got to really dive in and like, you got to be like, well, how much, you know, effort are you willing to put into this? You know, have you tried to fix this before? Yes, no. Okay. Well, what did you do? How did it work? How bad do you really want to solve this problem? Like, and then one of my favorite things is like when you get through asking like some of these underlying questions, it's like, well, would you like my help? Would you like my help solving your problem? Mm-hmm. Yes or no, right? Simple. We haven't even talked about money necessarily at this point, but if they're like, yeah, I really want your help, Travis. All right, cool, man. Well, let's talk about a strategy on putting something into place. And then I'm looking at numbers and I'll show them and be like, look, man, if you get 50 leads and you close 2 of them and your average customer's $4,000, you make $8,000. You know, how about, you know, you just give me $2,000. Like I have a plan that's, you know, $24.97 that'll really, really work. But if that doesn't work, I also have one that's $14.97 that'll do the trick as well. So, you know, you can start high and back your way down. But the number one thing when you're doing your sales is like, you better be asking questions and really trying to figure out why are they even trying to make more money? Can they even handle more business? You know, do they have kids? Do they have another kid on the way? Or their business going under? Or there's a lot to it. But, you know, the key to it is asking questions and having a great product to sell someone and really genuinely solving their problem. And then ask them, hey, do you want my help solving? I can solve your problem. Do you want my help with that? Let them speak. Don't talk. Yes. Now we can move. No. Well, then if you don't want my help, then we don't even really, honestly, I'm not going to continue to have this conversation. Oh, hey, it's not a problem, man. You know, maybe we're not a good fit right now, but if you ever need any help or if you just want some free advice or something like that, man, add me on Facebook, add me on Instagram, follow me, check me out, and then maybe we'll connect in another 30 or 60 days. Let them off the hook. Don't try to like force someone to close because those are going to be your worst fucking clients. Like they're going to be the ones who are bitching and trying to fucking charge you back and all. And when I stopped forcing deals, No, I haven't had a chargeback in forever. You know, I mean, so that's what I would say.
One, and I think that's a good point too. I think it's something that we all need to remember is that, you know, abundance is real, right? I mean, there's too much business out there. There really is.
It's unlimited, dude.
No matter, you know, I mean, no matter how many agencies or marketers pop up, there's more business than most of us can handle out there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you know, you only need, you know, 100 clients at $1,000 a month to. I don't like doing that kind of volume personally, even though we do. I like to close big deals. I like to partner. I like to close the bigger ones, and that's how I really like to do it myself.
You probably like that because there's a lot of relationship building.
I love it. Yeah, I love that, man. And like, you can get hundreds of.
But you can't hard close a $1.5 million deal, right? Like that's a relationship building deal.
Yeah, you have to build that relationship, and like that dude manages like $7 billion. He don't give a shit. He ain't trying to even rush this deal at all. Like they got so much money, like they're smart. You know what I mean? Like they're very, very smart. They're gonna be patient and they're gonna wait for the right deal, because like I one of my favorite things is like you really can't say the wrong thing to the right person, and when it clicks and it's there, it's just done. It's easy. You don't have to sell it. When they get it, they've sold themselves.
Yeah, makes sense.
So by the way, your partner's here.
Who?
Your partner's here.
Travis?
Oh yeah, he's here. He's been commenting here.
Let's go.
Travis says, "I heard your partner had bad hair."
I never heard that, man. I never heard that. I never get to see him. He just has his camera off all the time.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
I heard he's got like a dope lap pool that he's putting in the back of his new house or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, apparently he's building a big house right now, right?
He's got fine taste. I mean, he got granite countertops with fucking gold in it. Gold. Bro, what do you need that for? He's like, I don't know. I want it. He was looking at a huge, ginormous T-Rex. I was like, where are you going to put that? He's like, I don't know. I'll probably put it in my backyard. I'm like, bro, you're hilarious.
That's awesome.
You do you, man.
Oh, I love it. Well, Brian has a good question. He says, when you did find a partner, especially on the fulfillment side, how do you balance the decision-making power and all of that?
I'm so glad Travis is on here for this one.
Yeah.
You know, man, the key is
we should get him on. Where's he?
Let's go.
Let's get him on. I know he's camera. Like I know he doesn't like the camera and stuff like. Travis, man, we want to come on here. Come on, let us know.
Dude, that's a great.
Travis is a great guy, by the way.
He is
super smart and unbelievable what he's been able to accomplish, and lots of you know, I know you and I, Travis, talk a lot, but your partner, I mean, this is what that's where the relationship.
We call him Oz. We call him
Oz, right? Yeah.
I'm gonna separate it, so he's Oz. I'm Travis.
There was one night I spoke to Oz for 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
6.5 hours, because I was just like, oh my God, this guy is just like the shit he's doing was just unbelievable.
He really is.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we were talking about actually, you know, when you talk about like partnerships and JVs and stuff like that, he was actually considering partnering up with a Canadian to start importing syrup. he figured he could sell, you know, thousands of gallons of syrup and make a huge profit in Texas.
Travis can make it happen. I mean, there's no doubt. Oz will make it happen.
Hey, well, I told him, hook it up, man. I'll ship you as many gallons of syrup as you want.
Yeah, syrup.
Canadian syrup, man. Apparently, so I buy Canadian syrup here at I think it's like $10, maybe $10 a liter. He's basically saying he can sell like $70 for half a liter. That's a huge margin.
Look, this is the thing. This is the thing about Travis. Travis says he can do a lot of shit, right? Crazy shit like that you would never ever fucking believe, but he does it every single time. He'll say some shit like I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say, but we're working with a client whose son, Travis didn't know this, was in the Pentagon. Well, Travis does some government work, right, in the Pentagon, and you know, for a long time I was like, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Travis knows this guy's son. He's legitimately doing this shit. I'm like, this guy is just amazing. But, you know, he really does. Then he pulls open the back end, and we have these really deep meetings with, like, the softwares and like the coding. Like he speaks 13 different coding languages. And like, you know, you don't think like a dude can really do it, but then I'm in these meetings for hours with him, and he's doing shit that I'm like, he's like coding faster than I can type regular words, and I can type like 80 to 100 words a minute. He's got like huge screens, and he's got one that's like vertical for coding. Like, but he's a great guy. But back to the question for the audience is the key to having a successful relationship is communication, high level, but really truly understanding your partner. You know what I'm saying? Because like me and Travis, we've gotten into it. We've cussed at each other. You know what I'm saying? But we love each other. You know, and like when you got to let ego go. So like, you know, if I were to be like, what the fuck, Travis, you're fucking taking too long, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want my clients to be so happy that sometimes I put a little pressure. And then sometimes Travis, you know, Travis puts pressure on me because we both want the same thing. It's all out of love. And, you know, if we get into it, I mean, you know, it's funny because you'll learn how your partner is. Well, when we get into it, if Travis is the one who's getting into it with me, he'll start sending me gifts. You know, he ain't normally just bullshitting with me. You know, he normally business. But when he's like, you know, I can tell he'll be starting to send me some gifts. Like, all right, cool. We're cool again. We're cool again. You know, and me, I'm like, dude.
Like physical gifts? Like you're like physical things?
Huh? Like no gifts, like a gift.
Oh, like okay. Yeah.
In gifts, yeah. He sent me like $1,000 Gucci slippers. I was like, damn, I love you, bro. Let's go. So open communication, truly understanding your partner, and understanding like shit. Like I'm in the military. I was in the military, so I understand that things get hot. But if you always come from a place of love, you can work things out if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever like get to the point where you're disrespecting. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be in there name calling people like that. That's when you take it too far. You know, when you start name calling and stuff, you're taking it too far. You gotta learn to be like, well, what the fuck, you know? And like you gotta learn to just communicate with your partner. It takes time. It takes years. You know, we've been working together for a couple of years, and it takes time. You know, It takes time, but we have a great dynamic, a great relationship. I mean, Travis is open and willing to learning how to do better, just as I'm totally open and willing to learn how to communicate better. And Travis has helped me a lot because sometimes I get really short-tempered with a client, and Travis will come in there. He's like, we're like good cop, bad cop. And then sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes Travis gets frustrated dealing with them, and then I'll step in and I'll cool it off. And like that type of dynamic, I've never had it in my entire life. And I'm just blessed, you know, I'm blessed to have such a good partner, like truly, because like, you know, like that's a great, it's just such a good question because it's so important that you have open communication. You're an open book. You know, and that's key. You know, if you have someone who's, you know, shady and stuff, and they won't show you the numbers and all the stuff, like if you ask and they're like, no, they're hiding something from you. You know what I mean? Like if you're an open book and you're asking, well, I want to see the numbers. I want to see what's going on with this project. I want to see this. And they don't, you know, there could be something going on. There could not, you know, but whatever. I'm just like, you know, just be careful. But communication is key. Like lining out. If you're going to partner with someone, lining out what are those agreements? You know what I'm saying? What are these agreements? What are your job? What are my job? If as long as if we're both doing our job, everything's Gucci. Everything else will work itself out.
Makes sense. So Leon has a question for a objection. If he's pitching a real estate agent or a marketing agency client, right? Mm-hmm. And they say, I have to think about it because, you know, XYZ other company is offering me basically the same thing.
That's always the tough one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like there's like just context to these different types of situations. So like, Did you cold call this person? Mm-hmm. If you're in the comments, did you cold call this person, or did they reach out to you? Were they a referral? Because you're going to handle it differently. If like it's a referral, be like, hey, look, like, you know, if they're offering the same thing at a different price, it's the same thing. Like, you know, I don't know. I got bike shoes. These were $750. You know, I don't fucking know, but I know I didn't want $100 shoes because they were going to tear my feet up when I'm trying to do 112 miles. So if you're having a conversation and it's come down to price only, you probably just didn't do a good job. You know what I'm saying? Because if you sold it the right way and you're asking the right questions and they're comparable, you know what I'm saying? Like people will say that all the time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? People will say that, oh, they're doing the exact same thing for a cheaper price. Well, I mean, if you're a referral, well, hey, look, you were referred to me for a reason. And although they may be saying that they're doing this, this, and this, you were referred to me for a reason. And, I may be a little bit, a little bit more pricey, but I guarantee my work. We know the same exact people, and who it just boils down to who you want to do business with at that time, and like, I literally, I talked to the guy today. I was like, you can definitely go get sandals at Walmart, but you can go get some slides at Gucci.
Yeah.
Like my Gucci slides, I have a couple pair, but they've lasted 3-4 years. Where my Walmart slides, they'll break and I'll have to buy 10 different pairs. And by the time I buy those 10 pairs, you can just tell them, I mean, another thing is instead of trying to overcome the objection, I like to ask questions. Well, what made you decide to reach out to me in the first place? And try to get back down into the problem and try to get off the price. If they're a price buyer, sometimes maybe you got to match them or you don't do the deal. Those are tough. I'm not saying that they're not, but you could say, well, you've tried, why didn't you go with them? If their service was so great and the price was so great, well, what made you decide not to go with them? And just get some more context and try to figure out the problem and stall, a little bit by asking them questions. Well, you've obviously tried to fix this problem before. Well, how did it go? And that's how I like to overcome objections like that. That's really, truly how it is.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. Ryan has another question. He says, how do you go out pitching bigger companies, such as like a brokerage, versus an individual agent?
As far as what?
Ryan?
Partnering, you said?
No, as far as pitching a bigger company for your digital or for your marketing services versus an individual agent.
Well, I mean, again, you're going to have two completely different plans for sure.
Yeah.
And you're going to need it. If you're going there to pitch them, you better be ready. You need to be ready. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're pitching an individual, that's super easy. If you're pitching a big brokerage, you gotta really know what you're going into. Like you better have a relationship with that broker to try to understand. Because look, you can go in and you can pitch people all day long. And sometimes it works and you'll close deals. I'm not saying that you won't, but I'm also saying that the leverage is in the details. It's in the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're going into a brokerage, how many agents do they have? What are their current productions? What are their biggest struggles? Like if you don't know what their biggest struggles are and what are the top three, if we were to work together for 6 months or a year, what are the top 3 things that you're trying to accomplish? What does success look like to you 1 year from now? And that's a really good place to start because, then by the time you get through with your pitch, you got to solve that problem. But if you don't know who the company is, what their production is, what their goals are, or any of this, I mean, you're really walking in there blind. And unless they just really like you, you're gonna go in there and you're gonna look like you were not ready.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So that's like if I go into I don't do this anymore, but when I would go into big brokers, I would go into the way that I would do it is I would offer a brokerage a free class. You know what I'm saying? And I would go in there and provide massive amounts of value to all 30, 40, 50 of their agents. And when they couldn't do it on their own, I would go out and teach them how to build ads and shit like that. It gets really overwhelming. And so when it was all done, I would just follow up with all the individual agents and I would even follow up with the broker that maybe have another opportunity to go back in after providing some type of value. If you're just going in cold, I mean, you're shooting in the dark. That's all there is, point blank. So I like to try to be a little bit more prepared. I believe in the law of reciprocity. These are laws. Reciprocity is like give value in exchange. Maybe you'll get something back. So that would be one strategy. Go and try to provide value to the broker, absolutely free. Hey, I'm offering, go get like CE certified. You know what I'm saying? Get a CE certification and go teach these agents a course on Facebook ads that gives them an hour CE credit and charge $97 per person that comes in there. I mean, there's multiple different things that you can do.
Makes sense.
Hopefully I hope that helped.
Yeah. Let's see. Joel says, how do I handle the objection? I need to think about it or I don't make quick decisions.
I mean, let me think about it, right? Well, hey, look, I totally agree. You need to consider all the options before pulling the trigger. That's completely understandable, completely normal. Here's the thing. I normally I was like, I know you've been thinking about this for a lot longer than me and you have been talking here on the phone. and you thought about this a lot. That's why you showed up today. You know, like you want to just tell people like you're here for a reason. You want my product, right? Assuming that you've asked the previous questions, do you want my help with that, right? If they say yes, so you're like, well, you want my product. It does exactly what you need. You just want to make sure it's the right decision. I get it. Let me assure you with 100% certainty that this is absolutely the best decision for you. You got to sell them. You know what I'm saying? So this is absolutely the best decision for you. Thinking about this another day, another week, another month, it ain't going to change the fact that you want this and that you need this and that you need it right now. Let's just get you what you want and need, and let's do the deal.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
You know, I mean, so something along those lines, you know, if I'm like,
yeah,
you know, I'm just like kind of random here, you know, trying to kind of go off the cuff, but that's where I would go with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And like you said, having a lot more context is going to change a lot of it.
I'm trying to tell all y'all, if y'all are really interested in sales and y'all aren't asking these questions before, you're going to be in trouble. I mean, you're going to get these objections. You know, you're going to get them. You're going to get them. If you don't ask the right questions, I mean, you know, we're like when me and Travis do deals, we're not talking really about money very often. We're just talking about the scope of work and the strategy. And by the time they talk to me and the time they talk to Travis, it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. You know, I mean, it's how much is it? What does that look like? What's my ROI? Let's go. So do a good job at asking questions and you'll minimize, you'll still get this. You'll get it, but I mean, you'll minimize your risk.
Makes sense. Cheyenne says, how do you do your follow-ups without being salesy?
Man, I always try to provide value. So like if I'm working with a chiropractor and I'm talking to him on Facebook, I'm just gonna be like, so okay, let me tell you one of my things that I did that made me a lot of money. Actually, that like, and I'll get back to that. So I send value. So if, like I'll answer the question real quick and kind of give you some context. So if there's a chiropractor who's asking a bunch of questions about marketing, they didn't quite get, I'll go find an article and I'll just be like, hey man, you know, I was driving by this sign and it made me think of you. And I just was like, oh, I was reading this book or I was reading this article and it really made me think of you. And I thought that you could use it. I thought that this would be really useful and very helpful in your business. And I just send them an article. I'll send them value. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, hey, this is Travis Plumb. I'm just following back up with you. You know, like everyone does that. You know, you want the person who's going to provide the most value is going to get the deal. You know, so send them something valuable. You know, like we sold all those, those beef jerky things. Well, we have other partners we had to mail out 12 boxes of beef jerky to. You know what I mean? It's just building reciprocity. We're giving you something in order to get something. That's just how it is.
So I want to add to that because one of my favorite things to do, which allows me, like basically gets me an appointment with anybody that I want, is give somebody a customer.
Yeah.
I love that part. Like you want to add the ultimate value to something, give somebody a customer. It's like, hey, broker, blah, blah, blah. I was just talking to my cousin looking to buy a home, right?
Yeah.
Like, is there an agent that maybe I can talk to?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. But like that, like, and you know, it's something I've done my entire career is, and you talk about, you know, being a connector, right? And connecting businesses with customers was something that that allowed me to be able to get in front of some of the biggest companies out there. And with agents and brokers, it's so freaking easy. It's like,
so easy.
It's really simple, right?
Give them free value, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Makes sense.
Cool. Well, I think we gotten through the question.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, I want to cover one more thing because it's like,
sure, yeah.
kind of like my thing. Going back to follow-up, right?
Mm-hmm.
On Facebook, you know you can see first people, right? My top 40 prospects, 35 or whatever it is, I think it's 35 now. I went and selected every time my top 35 prospects. I would see them first, and I comment, like, and engage on every one of their posts every fucking day. And then when I sell them, I take them off my see first, and I add my next prospect. So that way, I'm seeing them, I'm engaging with them, because online sales takes like 7 to 12 touches or 9 to 12 touches or whatever that is. It may be more, maybe less. I don't know anymore. I haven't looked at that stat in like 2 years, but it takes about 10 touches. So when you're liking their post and you're commenting, oh my God, your girls, they're so cute. You know what I'm saying? Like, this makes me wish I had my girls again when they're your age or whatever it is. When you're doing that and you're engaging with your potential clients, your potential customers, they get familiar with you. So when you do follow up with them, it's not a cold follow-up.
They know who you are. Yeah,
Yep.
they know who you are, right?
They know who you are.
It's interesting that you say that because there was one that I was following for a long time as a real estate agent. I think, I can't remember where, it may have been Mississippi. She was a big real estate agent there. And that's exactly what I did. They were basically part of my A-list. And, I had the same thing, 30, 40 of them that I would just go and comment. And this one specific one, was doing lives all the time, right? I was constantly commenting, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then I ended up posting something, I think about some training or like something I did with a bunch of other agents. And she reached out. She says, hey, listen, I'm interested in seeing what you're doing with other real estate agents, because I'd like for you to do what you're doing with it. And it's like, that's crazy. That actually worked. But I spent a lot of time doing that. Like, this is not,
for sure.
Like it takes effort, right? And a little bit of tact as well, right? Like you need, there's you have to pick and choose the customers. One of the sales guys that I used to work with, I would consider him a mentor. He was a CEO of one of the largest companies in where I grew up. One of the things we used to do is we used to call all of our leads, and he used to coach on the leads that we were getting in. This wasn't for agency stuff. This was for another company. But one of the things, I was calling through the leads, and then, he was on the phone, and then at the end of after 10, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're just calling through these leads? I'm like, yeah. He's like, why aren't you researching all of these companies? Like, before you call, and this is what he used to tell me. He used to say, make sure that the call that you're making, this is going to be the only opportunity you ever have with this customer. So you better do whatever you need to do. Otherwise, just think about it like that, right? So, we used to get hundreds of leads a day, and I'd have to sit down, research every single lead. We're getting name, phone number, email address, company name, website. So I'd be on there. And then all of a sudden now it's going from it's a cold call or follow up with a lead, but now I can actually build rapport, because now I can talk about
a little too.
Right. Yeah.
And dude, I'm really glad that you said that, because I didn't know how far you wanted to go. But look, if you're following other people on Facebook, I have everyone add me on Facebook. Everyone adds me on Instagram, stuff like that.
You'll probably get another 20, 30 friends tonight.
Come on, let's go. I'll add everybody. But you can go onto your, hey baby, come here. Say what's up, everybody. This is Lila. So I would go onto everyone's personal profiles, and I would see what they like. I would see what type of common ground we have, because it shows them what type of pages they like, what type of movies they like, what they're into. So when you call someone, you can be like, look, man, I wanted to do business with you, and then I saw you were a fan of the Raiders.
Yeah.
You get them laughing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to work out, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's how you build rapport with these people, right?
Yeah. And then you feel comfortable, because you've done so much social reconnaissance, they're not even a stranger to you anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's really what sets you apart from everybody else. That's the other thing too, right? Because most people are not doing that. Most people are not doing that research, right?
No, I think that's gold. Yeah, especially the see first on Facebook. I think it's gold.
The see first, and then what Shane said about doing your social reconnaissance.
Yeah.
It's super key. And there are different types of softwares. I mean, you can go to
just go to Travis. He's got a whole whack of software he's built.
You can go and do full-blown research, data analysis research, and buy it from no, it's not whiskey. I don't know.
I don't think you need to go that far. I really think all you need to do is pick and choose things that you can actually relate back to your conversations, right? It's like, oh my God, this person's actually from here. Maybe I grew up there, or maybe I have a friend there, or maybe I have an uncle there, right? Oh, this article about wakeboarding. Well, I wakeboarded last year, right? I know, I broke my shoulder. This is something that I can relate back to those conversations, right? And building that rapport. And that's what breaks down those walls, right? And then getting into that conversational questioning as well. Those are all big things that we can all do. And that's what allows us to build those relationships. And then eventually allows us to actually close on these deals.
Yeah. And Travis, your partner says the riches may be in the niches, but the fortune is in the follow-up.
It is. It definitely is. We know that.
He's still here.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Awesome.
Travis is.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Probably loving it.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
You're right. You don't have to do like deep research until you make the deal. You know, once you make the deal, I mean, you can do that at that point in time if you need to. But I mean, you don't, like you said, Shane, you don't really have to do all that stuff. Just get to know them personally, and it'll change the game. I promise you, you'll go out there and make more sales than just doing this organically without running a single ad. You'll make more money than you've ever made just doing that.
Cool. One last question before we let you go, because I know that when we first started this, and I told you, and then, this was kind of last minute as well, too, and I really appreciate, both Matt and I really appreciate you coming on here talking with us. And we mentioned like, hey, it's only an hour, but I told you, right, if we get talking, it could be a lot.
If I had been drinking tonight, we could go for longer.
But one last question here. I want to talk to you about time.
Yes.
Because I know we've had conversations with you, and I'm always really impressed about how much you and your partner have been able to accomplish. You guys are so you're busy. You're doing so many things. You're training for an Ironman now. You've got all kinds of shit going on the real estate side. You got these massive companies that you're partnering up with. Tell us about your day, your time. Like, how do you break this up, and how do you even find time to play video games, right?
Very, very, very short and very, very strategically. So like I said, the key thing is having, a great partner who can help. If I was doing this all by myself, I wouldn't probably be able to do jack shit, like nothing. I don't really get to do that much. So you have to be really disciplined. All right. That's the number one thing. You're going to have to be disciplined. So from like 9 to 5 o'clock, I told my girlfriend, we have 2 kids together. Everyone calls her my wife. We've been together for a long time. I told her, don't talk to her. Like literally, she gets so mad at me sometimes because she'll like peek in and she'll ask me when I'm in the zone, and Travis is really like this too. Like when we get in the zone of doing what we're doing, little distractions like that, it could take 15 or 30 or 45 minutes for me to reset. I've wasted an hour, you know what I mean? So I don't, I really try to get, my family on board with not fucking with me, you know what I mean? And so I'm very there's 2 things, inbound and outbound. So when I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, let's just say I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. Okay. I want my kids to be up and ready by 7:30. So Sam wakes up 7 o'clock. She's getting the kid. By the time I get back from the gym and doing my little 2.5, 3 hour thing, I expect things to be done how they're supposed to be done. You got to have a partner who will have your back, right? Mm-hmm. So at 7:30, I wake up. I either bike or run or both, or get my workout in. And I try. I don't do this every day, and it's probably cliche, but I love to meditate. I love to just, I'm about to have a hell of a day. I'd like to take some time for myself. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes it doesn't. It hasn't much lately, but that's because I'm busy training for an Ironman. So my mornings usually spend a lot of time working out. I get back at 7:30. I go get Starbucks coffee almost every single day. And, my day starts at 9 o'clock. I don't typically take phone calls other than for you, Shane, before 10 a.m. And, that's by design. I want from, that 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock to respond to emails, respond to messages, talk to the VA or whatever I have, try to plan out my day and be strategic about it. And then I have 3 hours of outbound, and I always make sure to do outbound, I always try to make sure that we want to send 50 Facebook Messenger a day. Like if you looked at my Messenger right now, fuck, Kairos, you know what I'm saying? Kairos, hundreds and hundreds of them, right? So there's 3 hours or 4 hours of outbound, and then there's 4 hours of inbound. And if I don't have meetings or something like that, then guess what I'm doing? Outbound. I'm going and I'm doing outbound, or I'm going and I'm doing a networking event or a meeting or something like that, right? Like I'm not playing Call of Duty during the day. So I work till 5, 6. So I just, some days I'll be like now, I'm up till 9:15. I won't get to see my kids. They're going to bed right now. And that's okay. Like she understands that there are some days that I have that, but normally I'll cut my day off around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and I'll get another workout in. I'll eat my dinner. You know what I'm saying? I'll spend a little bit of time, with my girls. The most important thing for me is spending time with my family. So, when that 6, 7 o'clock rolls around, I'm hanging out with my girls. until they go to bed. You know, I love them, you know, and I love my family, and I think it's really important to make time for them. And there are some days where I can, and there are some days where I can't. But, you know, when 9 o'clock rolls around, typically they're going to bed. And, you know, my girl, she loves to be on her phone and be on Instagram and just scrolling. So I'm not into that shit. Like I think I was telling Matt, if I could ever, there's all my books. If I could just never be on social media again, you know, I would do that. But, you know, while she's doing her thing, you know, sometimes we'll watch a movie together. We have date night. We make sure we have date night. I'll play Call of Duty, you know, so like I'll play Call of Duty from like, you know, if it's during the week, most of the time during the week, I'm not playing Call of Duty, but on the weekends, you know, I get down, you know, I'll play from 10 o'clock to, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, you know, whatever, as long, but I do that because I'm doing my shit that I'm supposed to be doing. If I'm playing Call of Duty and I miss a workout, I feel so guilty all day. I'll go weeks without playing because that's a reward. You know what I'm saying? That's a reward for me. I'm really an introvert at heart. You know, I played the cello. You know what I mean? Like I am a nerd at heart. You know, these are skills that I've learned just forcing myself to be in an uncomfortable situation. But that's how I do. Everything is really disciplined. Travis, I don't know if he's still on here. He is. I don't know how he does it. He works he actually blocks off like 15-minute increments. 15-minute, like he is to a T. He's like, because Travis is super, super, super busy. He's busier than me. He's got a lot on his plate. And when I talk to him, he's like, bro, I got 2 minutes. What's up? Like, or he won't even answer, or he'll just message me. You know what I'm saying? Or like he's got a team, he's got assistants and stuff like that message for him. So there's a point to where you got to leverage your time. And my biggest thing is right here. HLAs. What are your high leverage activities, right? What's going to make you the most bang for your buck? That's the shit you need to be doing. And there's a formula for this, and I encourage everybody on here right now, when you get off, to go type in the formula to find out how much you're worth per hour, right? So I may be worth like $373 an hour. That's how the math breaks out, right? I'm not going to go mow my yard because that's a $50 an hour job. I'm not going to go do the laundry or clean my house. I'll hire that out. You know, I'm not teaching my kids. I hire a full-time nanny. And I did that when I didn't have any money. I was still doing those things so I could just, even though I didn't have a lot of money, I was still trying to outsource things that weren't paying me $300 an hour on average. Even when I didn't have the money, I was still doing that because I knew that one day, me not spending time on this bullshit and really focusing, even though I had to suffer and struggle, I still made it. You know what I mean? And so being very, very disciplined on your time. If you don't have goals, I'll say it again. If you don't have goals, forget it. You need to have some goals, unless you're like a freak like Travis and have a fucking 500 IQ and can remember everything, you know, like we're not like that. I'm not like that. So I write down goals and I have a plan, and that's how I do it. And I try to stick to it. And having a good support system really helps with that.
Travis is here. He says, first of all, he's this Whiskey Thursday has given him a great idea for another piece of software. So I will probably build that out tonight, I'm guessing. And he says, yeah, nerd with an exclamation mark. So
he's always coming up with some new softwares, man. He's like,
he's showing me some of the stuff he's been.
I got this new Facebook CRM software. I got this scraping software. I'm like, damn, bro, what the fuck? He says he builds softwares while he's in the bathroom. You know what I mean? He's like, he'll be doing like a software license. I'm sorry, Travis. I gotta tell him. It's true. It's true.
Well, listen. We're gonna wrap up. What a fun Whiskey Thursday! It's been a great time. Yeah. Travis, thanks so much for popping on here. And it's great to have actually your partner on here, sort of at the end here, commenting. It would be great to get him on here at some point. Maybe someday he'll be, we can get him on here and get chatting.
Thursday's just the worst day. That's his government.
I know. That's his day, right? Yeah, for sure.
You know? So
yeah, absolutely.
We got to get him on here, man. He's just such a character. You know, if you get to meet him and you get to talk to him, you get a chance to pick his brain for an hour and a half. I mean, that's $100,000 right there. I promise you'll learn something from him.
It's almost $1 million that one night I talked to him.
Let's talk about that rev share again.
Yeah.
Partnership.
All right. Well, listen. Travis, it was a pleasure. Everybody watching, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Again, if you're catching us on YouTube here, make sure to come and join Real Estate Marketing Conversion Mastery Facebook group. We're here every Thursday live from 8 till whenever, whenever we decide to. 8-ish until, but sometimes 9 o'clock, sometimes 10 o'clock, and like today, 10:20 p.m. Eastern time. So everybody that's watching, thank you so much for joining here. Really appreciate you guys sticking around. You know the drill. If you've been watching the entire time, and I think we've had a few people here, hashtag Super Trooper. That means don't be cheating at this game, because we need to know if you're a true supporter, right? We want you to let us know if you've been watching the entire time, because this is a long show, man. It's 2.5 hours or 2 hours, man. This is like, you're pretty.
I'm not so sore from this morning's workout and standing here. I'm like, oh man, this is.
But so listen, let us know you've been watching the entire time. Just hashtag Super Trooper, so we know. We love knowing who's supporting us and following us and watching these Whiskey Thursdays. And Travis, huge thank you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It's been a pleasure. We've got a couple of Super Troopers here. Doug's been here the entire night, so that's been awesome. Thanks, Doug. I think everything that you're doing is so inspiring. It's so fun. And your whole journey is what a great journey you've had. And congratulations to you and to your partner and everybody that's working with you on your amazing success. You guys work so hard. I think you definitely deserve it. So, and Matt, it's been a pleasure, man. Always fun. Always fun.
It has. I think we're probably going to have some people reaching out to Travis. I know he said he pays his lawnmower like $50 an hour. So you might have some job applications coming in from there. Who knows?
Jesus Christ, it's more than most agency owners make.
Hopefully not. But hey, Matt, don't forget, hit me up for some Call of Duty stuff.
Oh, yeah. Stick around after this for sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks so much. Everybody watching, we'll see you next week.